What hacks do you use to sleep during hot weather? Share in the comment stories. How do you cope? What do you do to piss in hot weather? Enjoy watching. Story 1. Sleeping during hot weather can be challenging, but there are several hacks you can try to stay cool and comfortable. Use lightweight bedding. Invest in cooling pillows. Choose the right pajamas. Use fans strategically. Keep curtains closed during the day. Take a cool shower before bed. Use a chilled or frozen water bottle. Sleep on a chilled mattress topper. Stay hydrated. Create a DIY cooling system. These hacks into your bedtime routine, you can improve your chances of getting a good night's sleep, even during hot weather. Story 2. Warm shower. And if you have a fan or box fan, set it up so that it constantly hits you while you are still fresh out of shower for such a cooling effect. Or back in my day, use heavy blankets to cover any open doorways and open the freezer so it brings out a chill. Parents were mad I did that, but it never felt so cool in the kitchen before. Story 3. Window open feet out from under the blanket. Provides a nice breeze that carries out excess body heat. Gotta find the right blanket though. Also, a hot shower right before bed is amazing. Drops your core temperature. Combined with a made bed and a little bit of weed. 2 dabs. I'm fucking gone in 30 seconds. Story 4. I have the benefit of not having a set work schedule during the summer, so I can stay up until the house cools off. But, in a pinch, I take the coldest bath I can bear. Getting in sucks ass, but you get numb to it fast, sit in it for a good 30 minutes, and then hop right in bed. Basically, give myself mild hypothermia, and hope my insomnia is mild enough that I can fall asleep before I warm back up. Story 5. My AC died like 3 summers in a row and would take a couple of days to fix. It was miserable, so the last time I put a window unit in my bedroom so I could at least sleep. It froze the room and felt great. Ever since then, I let the house heat up to like 80 at night and just cool my bedroom. The electric bill dropped since I'm not cooling the whole house anymore. Story 6. Fans. I have some pretty severe heat sensitivity to where 75F is Imma pass out hot to me, and the best thing I do for myself is have a couple small fans blowing directly onto me while my ceiling fan is also going. If it gets really hot, ice packs are great to put on areas close to blood vessels like the wrists, neck, or inner thigh. Of course, if all else fails, Benadryl to kick my ass out is also a great option. Story 7. A great trick if you have a fan is to get a towel and wet it with cold water in the sink or tub. Squeeze most of the water out. Lay it down where your feet rest on the bed. Turn the fan on. The cold air should be able to reach the towel and keep it chilled throughout the night. This method is so unexpectedly cooling. The fan blowing keeps the moist towel ice cold. Whenever you shift the position of your feet, the new parts of the towel are cool. And controlling the temperature of your feet often helps regulate the rest of your body. It's helped me many times when the heat keeps me up. Story 8. I sleep nude, no comforter. I run the AC only before going to bed and maybe for a little bit when I wake up for a pee. I enjoy sleeping when it's warm, honestly. Also, I just got one of the IKEA cooling pillows. Club Spory, I think. It's not like ice cold, but I enjoy it. It feels a bit colder. Story 9. If you can cool your head at least a few degrees, you'll fall asleep much faster. I usually take and keep it under cold water for a bit. Wring it out and then put it around your neck. Those big blood vessels help cool you down quick. Once sufficiently cool, get a nice glass, thermos of cold water to keep by your bed with a small fan or something to blow air on you. Story 10. Cooling sheets is the obvious, as well as a window unit or a portable AC in the bedroom in addition to your central air system. However, a less obvious one, if you don't sleep alone, sleep with separate covers and top sheet. You won't share as much body heat, and you can take your covers off and on in various different stages and ways without disturbing each other. If you're like me and sleep hot but have to have covers on, use a thin, cooling duvet cover in addition to your sheet. Don't put the duvet insert into it, just the cover. Sleep naked, eat cleanly, high power fans at face level and ceiling fan on high power. Story 11. I grew up in Hawaii, hot and humid. I currently live in San Diego, hotter and only slightly less humid. And I've always been someone who can't sleep if I'm too hot. Thin quilts, only using a top sheet, keeping a fan on, closing your windows during the day and only opening them after it cools down outside, and sleeping with cold towels, ice packs have always helped. If your bedroom is upstairs, sleeping downstairs on the couch or a blow-up mattress might help, as it's usually cooler downstairs. Story 12. I have a big gel ice pack and I get it out of the freezer right as I'm laying down for bed. It came with a soft cover, so I wrap it in that and leave it on top of the blanket. Keeps me cool enough to fall asleep. My current ice pack is about 1412 in, but I'd like to get a full blanket-sized ice pack. Don't care how much space it takes up in the freezer. I need to be chilled. Story 13. I get hot pretty easily. and my partner is the complete opposite and is cold pretty much all the time. I've had many failed attempts at trying to convince her to have the AC and/or fan on blast, since it's easier to bundle up and warm up than it is to cool down. I had to get creative. With the scenario above, no AC fan on, this is the order at which I cool myself depending on the severity of the heat. Don't cuddle with partner. Stick my feet out. Shirt off. Wet my feet ******. This is the point where I usually lose enough body heat to comfortably fall asleep. If above doesn't do it, I wet my back as well. I try to avoid this as much as possible since I soaks the bed too much to be comfortable. Story 14. Sleep like a baby, pain-free for once, but I am admittedly one hell of an outlier. I spent years working in hot tar roofing, asphalt paving and such. I've worked in steel mills, commercial kitchens, and in the attic, above the hot fat fryer for rich foods products. Heat doesn't bother me much as long as I'm hydrated. In fact, most heat waves make me manic, even a tad giddy. I have arthritis and fibromyalgia. Sitting in a sauna or in sweat lodge is one of the few times I don't experience moderate but widespread joint pain. I am close to Lake Ontario in eastern Ontario. While it can get pretty humid sometimes, it rarely gets as hot as what is considered normal summer in large portions of the USA. Anytime I do find myself too hot to sleep, I just take a brief shower. Story 15. So I actually bought one of those Sleep 8 mattress covers, and for the 3 years it worked. It was great. No AC in my apartment in the PNW, and in the summer my room would hit 80° plus F some nights. With the mattresses active cooling on, I'd still wake up chilly in the middle of the night. For my west-facing window, I hung an emergency blanket over it to reflect the evening sun, and that helped keep the room cooler. I'm looking into window film that reflects 80% plus of infrared heat for this year. Story 16. I would soak my hair in as cold as water as I could stand when I was younger. I have very long and thick hair, so it'd hold in the water for nearly 10 plus hours if I didn't dry it. Point fan and stay cool enough so sleep. When it got really bad, 100 F plus, we'd sleep in our parents' room or in the living room in the center of the house, as it was somehow the warmest room in the winter and coldest in the summer. This was a 100-plus-year-old house with no central ask. Now honestly, I crank the AC. Story 17. My area gets a 2-week 100-plus degree heat wave every year, and it's usually quite cold rainy, so it sucks. I take multiple ice-cold 5-minute showers while home, block up the windows, run a portable AC, and have the fans going to circulate. If I'm having a really hard time sleeping, I'll get a spray bottle with ice and water, then spritz myself down till my body temperature doesn't feel like I'm melting. Putting ice cubes in bags, wrapping them in a towel, and putting them on pulse points like the back of my knees and armpits helps drop my temperature too. Story 18. Wear a wet shirt to bed. Wet your shirt in the sink with cold water, partially wring it out, get into bed with a fan blowing on you, and you should have enough time to cool down and get to sleep before your shirt dries and you get too warm again. If it doesn't stay wet and keep you cool for long enough, don't wring it out so much and keep it wetter. Story 19. Fan on, pointed at me, oscillating over the bed. Only one top layer, the thinnest possible. If there's a breeze after the sun's been down at least an hour, open the windows. Check the material of your sheets and pillowcases. I've still got cheap cotton sheets, but I'm hoping to move to something cooler. I do have 2 body pillows with 2-way trico covers, which feels so nice and cool. If you're desperate and don't share freezer space with anyone, put your sheets in the freezer after you get up for the day. Loosely reassemble at bedtime. I'd take a cool shower just before bed in this case. Help reduce your body heat. And jump in. Avoid alcoholic drinks for a couple hours before bed. Yes, it technically cools you, but you're going to think you're warming up faster. Story 20. Frozen water bottles. We put a pack of them in our garage freezer and pull them out each night. Wrapped in a dish towel and wedged between thighs, behind neck, under stomach. Wherever the heat is sitting. Switch for a new one if it's still too hot after a few hours. Put it back in the morning to refreeze for the next time. We have ceiling fans and leaves all the windows open, but those don't do enough. It's only hot a few nights a year, so AC and other methods don't seem worth it. Story 21. I shelled out for one of those mattress toppers that cools or heats each half of the bed. Absolutely life-changing because we don't have AC in our bedroom. My husband also runs hotter than I do, so we can each set a different temperature. It even adjusts itself overnight so I don't get too cold in the middle of the night. It was expensive, but I can't imagine going back now. Story 22. As an Australian, I'm basically an expert on this. Air conditioning is the obvious thing, but that doesn't really count as a hack. What I do is sleep with as little covering as possible. Obviously, don't sleep naked without a blanket on, but just a pair of underwear with a thin blanket or even just a spare bedsheet. Another thing is sticking 1 foot out of the blanket. I often find that the hardest part of my body to keep cool is my legs, and sticking 1 foot out helps with that for some reason. No, I don't know why. Hopefully this helped. Story 23. The black magic fuckery that is the military poncho liner. It keeps you warm in the cold weather and cool in the hot weather. I have to sleep with a blanket, so this is perfect for me to use when it's hot out. It's ultra breathable, but the silky material keeps it cool against your skin. I have an old house, so our insulation is pretty much non-existent. In the summertime, I use my poncho liner from when I was in the army, and I sleep good no matter how hot our room gets. Story 24. We have a portable stand-up AC unit in the bedroom. We vent it out the window, but the thing that holds the vent in place is flush with the window and white, so the HOA can't say anything about it. It saves on AC in the house since we don't have to freeze the whole house to sleep comfortably. We even use it in the winter to keep the temps at night around 62 degrees Fahrenheit year-round. Story 25. Windows open at night. Shut them as soon as, if not before, the outside temp reaches the inside temp. Keep windows and blinds closed during the day, especially ones that get direct light. In the summer, with the wind coming from the SW, I open the window on the south side of the house at night and put a window fan in it, then open the windows on the opposite side of the house. We have a few little battery-powered fans that we can stick in the bedroom windows to help draw our out if it's too muggy. Story 26. I know I'm weird. Just want to get that out of the way, so moving on. Put your bed up on something. Those risers that you can get for like $20. Get a box spring mattress and put very little between you and the box spring. Then get a muffin fan for like $20-30 Amazon and point it under your mattress, making sure that air can flow through or out the other side. You can hide it so guests won't see it. At night, turn the fan on. They have rotary knobs to control the speed. They are super quiet, and you would not believe how drastically this reduces the inability to sleep. I did not use my AC at all last year. To be warm in the winter, it's not what's on top of you that keeps you warm. Campers and outdoors people know this. It's what's under you. So the opposite is true for summer/heat. Edit to say that the reason I started doing this is because of A, poverty, and B, dries up your sinuses having a fan pointed at you, and I'm really susceptible to infections. Even if it's not pointed at your face and it's swirling around the room's air, it can cause this. When this happens, I have headaches for like 4 days and I cannot function. Also, air purifiers lower the temp of a room a little, and they make it dry so you don't feel it as much. I know the bed thing is a bit much, but trust me, it is so worth it. I wish I'd done this years ago. Story 27. Disclaimer. The following method requires you to drink lots of water, like lots. It is also inherently unsafe. Try at your own risk. So before bed, run a really hot bath. The steamier the better. With your water in hand, get into the bath until you can't stand it anymore. Optionally, you may shower after the bath, but otherwise go straight from the bath to bed. When you step out of the bathroom, you have about an hour before your core temp gets back up, so try and fall asleep ASAP after the bath. And again, I cannot emphasize enough that you must drink water this whole time. You are purposefully raising your core temp to dangerous levels, so do be careful. Story 27. I was able to get a heat pump a couple years ago. Not only did the electric heating bill plummet, but AC cooling was a bonus. Before that, I tried portable air conditioners. They work okay. The dual hose ones seem to be a lot better. Long ago, I made an ice cooler, put some buckets of water in the freezer to freeze solid, used an old ice chest, and used a hole saw to cut a hole in the lid for a 4-inch plastic pipe that was glued in, and cut another one for a 10 or 12-inch portable fan. I screwed the fan into the lid to blow air into the cooler, and placed a 90-corner piece on top of the pipe. When done, I put a little wire rack in the bottom of the cooler to elevate the ice, and put a frozen, bucket-shaped hunk of ice on the rack. When done, the fan blew air into the cooler, chilling the air, and then out the pipe, which could be directed as needed. We were able to use 1 or 2 ice bricks at a time. We have a couple large freezers, and it really helped. Worked best in a single room, but it does help cool it. It would probably work with those cubed or solid ice bags from the store, depending on the size of the cooler you use. Before that, fans, windows opened, and sleeping under a sheet. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, like it, be sure to write comments and share your stories.